Jessica Popp. She's the Director of Engineering of the High Performance Data Division, managing the development and support of the Lustre Parallel File System at Intel, period. Jessica has worked with the Lustre team for the past 8 years, and prior to that comes from industry IT, that's capital I, capital T, focused on software development, period. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Intel, for your kind support of this fine event. We appreciate the cash and the support. Are you appropriately wired? Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jessica Popp.
Okay, perfect. I had some notes I made up for myself, and I'm suffering from the same issue that Peter Bojanic is with the vision. So far, my arms are still long enough, but I'm running out of distance there. As I think Steve said, I started with Lustre in 2007. Peter Bojanic was actually gracious enough to hire me. And I've spent the last 9 years with the best engineers I've worked with in my entire career. While I'm not Canadian, I'm really tied to this team, so I did marry a Canadian named Peter. So I'm hoping for kind of nice by proxy. So, so you'll have to give me some feedback on that. But, and Brent Gorda would have liked to have been here. His son, spring break this week, so he's enjoying time with his family, but he did want to pass on that he would have liked to have been here with us today. So I wanted to cover some updates from the Intel perspective. I'm going to talk about a couple new programs. I'm going to talk about an update on our Intel Parallel Computing Center investment for Lustre, as well as a partner update and a roadmap update. So some of you may have heard of this new initiative that Intel has, the Scalable System Framework. So it is a framework to take technologies in HPC and big data and develop integrated solutions, looking at the HPC components across compute, memory and storage, fabric and software, and value them in an integrated way, test them in an integrated way, to see where we can take these solution offerings. This may be obvious, right? These are all your components, Intel. Aren't you testing them across the organization? Intel's a large organization. I realized that at about our 2.5-year mark when we joined Intel, after we'd been at Intel 2.5 years, I realized that's the inflection point at which a large company notices that they've done an acquisition. So until then, it was kind of like we were still, the WAM cloud bubble. We kind of did our own thing. And at 2.5 years, everybody in Intel realized that they had Lustre within the doors. And the phone began ringing off the hook, which has been really good for us. It's been really expansive in terms of getting broader support across Intel, getting attention on different projects we have, including the last talk from Ben, as well as James' talk. We've been able to partner more with other people that work in the open source technology group in Intel to get their feedback on ways we can move forward different initiatives. So we see this as an important component that, this is my personal opinion, but 2 years ago, a slide or an initiative like this at Intel would not have had Intel Lustre Solutions as one of the main memory and storage components. So looking forward for this is a good investment for Lustre from Intel's perspective. And I see this as a key component that Intel is focused both on HPC solutions as well as the future of where Lustre takes this. Andreas touched on this in his talk, but I wanted to look at it kind of more from the programmatic perspective. We announced the Intel Parallel Computing Centers for Lustre investment program at LAD last year. And as Andreas mentioned, our first program was at Johannes Gutenberg University on their network request scheduler, and they started their research work earlier this year. Since then, we've moved on to have 5 programs that have been vetted and invested in. So I think in that, I don't know, 6 to 7 month period, that's a pretty good growth on showing how we're getting the community and investing in the community and advancing in Lustre in multiple ways. For me, I see this as several benefits. One, this gives the community an opportunity to explore features that are important to them that may be in slightly different areas of research than what might be on a customer-oriented roadmap. So we can have those opportunities to explore other ideas and advance those as well. We're also providing funding, which helps increase the number of partners that can make it feasible to spend a concerted effort on Lustre feature development. And so this also adds to the broadening of the impact there. And finally, all of this work needs to land in the Lustre community tree. Part of the program and part of the tenet of this program is that all work and development, and as the milestones go forward, this needs to land as part of the community tree further advancing. So I look forward to seeing and starting to see this work mature, starting to see some of these milestones come in, and see this become tangible results as part of the Lustre community. Another program that some of you may have heard about that we launched last week is a new partner program in Lustre training. So we did a webinar last week on this to launch a new partner training portal program. This was developed from scratch over the last several months to build up a set of training modules designed to help partners come up to speed, learn how to support Lustre, define Lustre features, and excuse me, and capabilities. While this is overall designed as a partner training portal, you can see the URL here. It's available to the entire community. There are definitely components of it that are applicable to all of us that engage in Lustre. I know for me, 9 years ago, it really would have been great if there were 4 classes that would explain Lustre to me. It would be much easier to learn Lustre initially from an environment like this, in a self-paced environment with open classes. Right now, we have 4 classes with about 18 hours of content. So we encourage folks to go out and look at the training, give us feedback on the training. We've already gotten some folks engaged in this over the last week, and we look forward to updating this on a regular cadence with future releases. And then for our partners, our partner list of supported partners that are running and selling Intel Lustre is continuing to grow. I did want to highlight a few partner announcements this time. HP, so Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, has announced their Apollo, I'm going to get the number wrong, that's why the cheat sheets are here, so I don't get the product name wrong. Their Apollo 4520 product. We've been working closely with them to launch their Enterprise Edition 3.0 with ZFS-based appliance, and that's been announced just this week. We're also seeing a gain in traction with cloud computing. Microsoft as well has joined this along with their other HPC capabilities, and they are now running Cloud Edition for Lustre on Azure. Microsoft's actually here this week, and they have a booth, so I'd encourage folks to go out and talk to them about that. And then as Peter Bojanic so eloquently put it, I can't even compete with the way he pulled together the statement on the new work that we're going to be working with Seagate on with their L300 appliance to help them install Enterprise Edition for Lustre. We share the absolute excitement of bringing the community back together with a single Lustre distribution. And then finally, Supermicro also is introducing an Enterprise Edition 3.0 with ZFS appliance as a 4U 90-bay JBOD appliance. So we're seeing continued growth in the partner ecosystem. We thank all of the partners we're working with, and we look forward to future partner engagements in the future. As far as the roadmap, I'll talk about the Enterprise Cloud and Foundation as well as what we're doing in Exascale. So for Enterprise, we expect our Enterprise Edition release to be out later this month. It's moving us forward from a Lustre 2.5 base to a Lustre 2.7 base, as well as bringing the OpenZFS to 6.5.3. Some of the features that were already talked about earlier, we heard about ZFS snapshots from Fan Yang and his work there. The OpenZFS performance improvements we heard about from Jin Shan. For Enterprise Edition 3.1, we are still finalizing what the scope is in addition to what we see here, but we expect to be including the support for the bulk I.O., the 16 megabyte I.O.s that were talked about earlier. Additional improvements on ZFS metadata performance. We are continuing to focus on making that, to Andreas' point earlier, on par with LDiskFS, as well as multi-rail LNet support. For our Cloud Edition, we're seeing continued traction this year across enterprise HPC in a variety of verticals. We've definitely seen an increase in adoption and interest in this project this year. and in part to a Q4 rollout last week providing data encryption. For this year, we have maintenance release streams planned, and we're watching the usage to see where future feature development is desired in this product. For Foundation Edition, we're taking careful efforts to place features on the roadmap once we have confidence in timing for landing and completion of all efforts required to deliver a robust feature. So there's significant work in addition to this that's going on, and we're trying to be more prudent about the timing and working out of when we put it on a roadmap. So other efforts that we're including right now that are being actively worked on are data and MDT, ZFS fault monitoring, an HSM data mover, and replication and erasure coding. What's not on this slide is also the work we're doing for exascale. This was hinted at in a couple of presentations talking about some of the RAID Z work we're doing as part of the Coral program, but we're still spending a significant amount of our team efforts and investments on Department of Energy investment programs. Right now we have a significant team that's working on the Coral program, and they have a variety of ZFS, Lustre, including ZFS work and enhancements. And this is great for us because we're continuing to see the exascale funding helping us to grow the Lustre tree. So we'll see those features flow into the releases over the coming time periods. I saw someone put 2.11, and I'm sitting in my chair going, well, I'm not sure it's 2.11. But we have very firm schedules published with the Coral program, and that'll help flow into Peter's team, and Peter and his team will determine when those are the best to go in. Thank you. Do you have any questions? It's close to beer 30. Thank you.